Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. All right, we're up and going here. We're ahead of time. We still have another minute, so.
So welcome. Glad you're with us.
While we're waiting, if you go to the Temple Beth Emeth Facebook page, not our website, our Facebook page, the most recent post includes a link to a digital version of Mishkan Tefillah. So you can follow along with us this evening using that if you don't have a physical book at your home, which I imagine most of you don't. So again, our Facebook page, the most recent post has a link to a digital version of Mishkan Tefillah, our prayer book. So please do utilize that. To make your life a little easier, when you open it up, there is a contents icon. You can quickly get to the Erev evening Shabbat service with that contents, and the pages should be the same as what we're calling out. Also, if you would kindly, since you're already on Facebook, getting to the Siddur, leave us a message. I'll be honest with you, it feels sort of weird for us to be in a room, with actually a new person with us. So welcome to Taylor Flowers. Thank you for being here with us tonight as our accompanist. But it's just the three of us, and all of you, all over the world maybe, but certainly lots of you members of our congregation here in Ann Arbor, and even further, of course, some of our members. So leave us a comment if you are streaming with us, and we'll say Shabbat Shalom to you, like we typically do at the beginning of services. So that'll happen. I think we're getting a microphone. Yeah. That'll happen throughout the service as I check my phone. So when you see me looking at my phone, that's what I'm doing. I'm checking for your comments. So give them to us. There's Ariel Jaffe again. Shabbat Shalom.
Yes, we don't want to miss hearing the piano.
Oh, we got a few. We got Abby, Patricia, Shoshana. Wonderful. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. So glad you're with us tonight.
Deb and Ralph Katz, Shabbat Shalom to you. Thanks for being with us.
Yeah.
So if hopefully you've gotten to your Mishkan Tefillah digital version, and even if you haven't yet, the song that we'll be beginning with, the prayer really that we'll be beginning with, is simple enough, and probably you're familiar with it. It's on page 142. Page 142. Shalom Aleichem. And I think, that is, of course, what we hope and pray for all of us tonight, every night, but certainly as we experience this together and apart, together and separate, as we go through all of this. May peace be on all of us.
Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem L'Shalom Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei HaSharet, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei HaMelachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Barechuni L'Shalom Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei HaSharet, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei HaMelachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shuvchem L'Shalom Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei HaSharet, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei HaMelachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So I'm sure some of you are just joining us now or in the last minute or two. And just to reiterate, on Facebook, if you go to the Temple Beth Emeth Facebook page, Temple Beth Emeth Facebook page, you can find a link to a digital version of Mishkan Tefillah, the Sidur, the prayer book that we're using tonight. And it's free. You can just go use it online and follow along with us as we go through our service tonight. Again, a welcome to our accompanist, Taylor Flowers, for being with us here tonight. Thank you for being with us. And I'm going to say a few things, as I typically do at the beginning of services, about the Torah portion. But now is a good time. I mean, you should listen to me, of course. But
always.
But now is a good time. If you have not lit your Shabbat candles yet, go and get your Shabbat candles. Light them with us as we're lighting here tonight. So definitely do that, and also leave a message on the Facebook page when you go there, and tell us Shabbat Shalom. Say hi to us, and I'm going to check in periodically on my phone. Some of you have been texting me, so I'm just going to say hi right now to Elaine and Sue, Kettle. I imagine Peter might be with you too. Ronnie and Stu. Shabbat Shalom to all of you. And let's see. Maybe the people have commented here as well. Bear with us, folks. Patricia, good to see you. Shoshana, we already said Shabbat Shalom, but Jody, Shabbat Shalom. Jack and Stephanie, Shabbat Shalom.
Esther, Shabbat Shalom. Judah, Shabbat Shalom. It's good to be with all of you, and I imagine more who will continue to join us. So, a word about our Torah portion. You know, it never astounds me how often Torah and life align. So, in this week's Torah portion, we read, "V'rachatzu Haron uvanav mimenu et yedehem ve'et raglehem." So Genesis 30:19, "And let Aaron and his sons wash their hands." I kid you not. It says it, wash their hands and feet. That probably doesn't matter quite as much for us right now. But wash their feet, hands and feet before, and I'll continue in the English. "When they enter the tent of meeting, they shall wash with water that they may not die. Or when they approach the altar to serve, to turn into smoke, an offering by fire to God, they shall wash their hands and feet that they may not die. It shall be a law for all time for them. For him," that's Aaron, "and his offspring throughout the ages, and for all of us." Wash your hands. And I think it's also interesting that that they're washing their hands as they go to the altar. And of course, even for our Israelite ancestors, but then certainly in Rabbinic Judaism, the sense of our, not our Israelite ancestors didn't think of it like this, but they understood the sacrifices to not quite be feeding God, but God enjoyed the smell of the sacrifices. A little different, but once Rabbinic Judaism started to take hold, the sense of our tables being small altars, that we sit around our tables with each other, eating our food together, and especially before you do that, wash your hands.
Right.
Is a good way to get it in. Somebody
Excellent.
Somebody had it in mind clearly. So take the advice of God. Wash your hands and your feet. Apparently, yes.
It's good to be clean for Shabbat.
It's good to be clean for Shabbat. Again, our Facebook page, you can find a digital version of Mishkan Tefillah. A link at least to a digital version. It's free. Go follow along with us. And also leave us a comment, say Shabbat Shalom, and we will say Shabbat Shalom back to you when we get the chance. But we are going to continue on page 138. Page 138, L'chadodi, and I'll encourage you, we're going to do what we typically do. If you're sitting down, which I imagine probably lots of you are, when we get to our 9th and final verse, you're in your own sanctuary. Literally, your home sanctuary. And when we get to the 9th and final verse, stand up and face the entrance, that is whatever way you came in, to your sanctuary, wherever you are tonight, face the entrance and greet the Sabbath bride, as Sabbath bride joins you wherever you are, us here and you wherever you are. Page 138, 139, verses 1, am I right? 1, 2, 5, and 9.
Exactly.
Okay.
לך דודי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. שמור וזכור, בית דיבור אחד השמיענו, אל המיוחד אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד, לשמו תפארת ולתהילה. לך דודי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי היא מקור הברכה מראש, מקדם נסוכה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה. לך דודי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה.
Verse 5.
התעוררי, התעוררי, כי באורך קומי אורי, 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 שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה, לך דודי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. בואי בשלום, עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה, לך דודי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה.
I was waiting to see if you.
You know, it occurred to me somebody might have needed the reminder, so I saw you and I offered.
we continue on page 140, on page 140, Mizmor Shir, Psalm 92.
מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. להגיד בבוקר חסדך, ואמונתך בלילות. עלי עשור ועלי נבל, עלי היגיון בכינור. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון.
For your sakes, I'm going to suggest you don't turn back in your books to page 120, 121. So the digital version is a little hard to navigate. So I say just stay where you are. If you really want, you can join us on 120, 121, but I don't recommend it. O source of light and truth, creator of the eternal law of goodness, help us to find knowledge by which to live. Lead us to take the words we shall speak into our hearts and our lives. Bless all who enter this sanctuary and every sanctuary in need, all who bring the offerings of their hearts. May our worship lead us to acts of kindness, peace, and love.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner, lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen. right. Margit and Becky Hankin, Shabbat Shalom, and Stephanie Newell. Becky joined us for Tak Shabbat. Tina Bissell, Shabbat Shalom. Andrew Bank, the whole Bank family, all 5 of you, Shabbat Shalom. Constance, Betsy, Shabbat Shalom. Shoshana, Stephanie Newell, Deb Katz. I'm sorry, we're not going to be able to deal with mix issues tonight. It's just the 3 of us. We need some more piano. Maybe, I don't know if we can bring it a little closer.
I can bring it up a little bit.
Okay, a little bit. All right. But apparently we are going to deal with mixed issues tonight. Hold on. Let's see what else we got. This is actually kind of fun to do this. Charsons, Shabbat Shalom. Who else? Who else we got?
So hopefully the piano's up a little bit more.
That there are so many of you joining us tonight. It makes us feel less alone, I'll tell you that, and I hope it makes you feel less alone too. Let's see. I think we might be caught up. If I'm missing you, it's not my fault. It's technology.
Imperfect, but it exists, which is
right.
great.
That's right. Corey Bircher, Shabbat Shalom, the Bircher family, Shabbat Shalom. Okay, we continue on page 144, Chatzi Kaddish.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה.
אמן.
ביומא דברך חירותי וימליך מלכותי. בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל. בעגלה ובזמן קריב. ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך, לעולם ולעלמי עלמיה, יתברך. יתברך וישתבח, ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה, ויתהלל, שמי דקודשא בריחו. לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, תמירם בעלמה, ואמרו אמן.
Rabbi Levi, Shabbat Shalom to you. Who else? Who else we have? Hold on. Anyway, Robin Little, I mean, some of you are sending me emails, some text, Facebook. We're all over the place. It's good. It's good.
It's good to be together.
I can multitask with the best of them. So keep them coming, and we're so happy that all of you are with us tonight. We continue, and again, I'd encourage you to participate in rising and sitting and all of the stuff that we do with the Baruch Hu. So, if you're able, please rise, page 146.
Yada
right. So, Ruth in Florida.
Oh, wow.
Shabbat Shalom. Laura Wallace, Shabbat Shalom. Who is this? I don't have all of your numbers saved on my phone. Deborah, Shabbat Shalom. Ronnie Shapiro, Shabbat Shalom. Wendy Feldman, Shabbat Shalom. Melissa, our executive director, and the rest of the segment, Shabbat Shalom. Elaine and Sue, I think we already got, okay, I got some of these.
Still good to know you're with us.
We're all over the place. This is good. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Ava, there are 193 people reached, or that's our last post, but hundreds of people between Tat Shabbat and tonight are with us, which is incredible. It is incredible. And as we move to the Shema, I found a poem by a woman named Lynn Unger. You may have seen it, in fact, on Facebook. It was circulating, and I just thought it was just so beautiful. It's called Pandemic. What if you thought of it as the Jews consider the Sabbath the most sacred of times? Cease from travel, cease from buying and selling, give up, just for now, on trying to make the world different than it is. Sing, pray, touch only those to whom you commit your life. Center down. And when your body has become still, reach out with your heart. Know that we are connected in ways that are terrifying and beautiful. You could hardly deny it now. Know that our lives are in one another's hands. Surely that has come clear. Do not reach out your hands. Reach out your hearts. Reach out your words. Reach out all the tendrils of compassion that move invisibly where we cannot touch. Promise this world your love, for better or for worse, in sickness and in health, so long as we all shall live. We continue with Shema. Page 152.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod, Shem Kevod Malchuto, Le'olam Va'ed. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavecha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol me'odecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Especially when things are changing all around us, when it feels like they're changing, in fact, minute by minute over this past week. It's important to not to forget who we are, and I love this interpretive translation of the Ve'ahavta on page 155, a reminder of what this prayer really says to us, of how we are supposed to live our lives, not to forget that even when it feels like life is totally chaotic. Love your God with every heartbeat, with every breath, with every conscious act. Keep in mind the words I command you today. Teach them to your children. Talk about them at work, whether you are tired or you are rested. Let them guide the work of your hands. Keep them in the forefront of your vision. Do not leave them at the doorway of your house or outside your gate. They are reminders to do all of my mitzvot so that you can be holy for God. I am Adonai, your God. I led you out of Egypt to become your God. I am Adonai, your God. And we celebrate that redemption. Page 158, Mi Chamocha, our song of redemption.
Ya la la ya la 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 ya la la ya la la ya la ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la la ya la la ya la 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 la. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nehedar b'kodesh, nora tehilot osefele, nora tehilot osefele. מלכותך ראו בניך, חוקי הים לפני משה ומרים. זה אלי אנו ואמרו, זה אלי אנו ואמרו. אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. יא לה 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 יא לה לה יא לה לה יא לה לה יא לה יא לה 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 יא לה 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 יא לה לה יא לה 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 יא לה לה. ונאמר כי פת אדוני תעקוב וגאלו מידך שחק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל.
Amen. On page 160, Hashkivenu, a prayer asking God to protect us this night and always, to protect us from lots of things, of course, to protect us from war, to protect us from famine, to protect us and also from sickness, to shelter us with a Sukkot Shalom, with a shelter of peace. And before we move to that prayer on page 160, words from a man who will still be our scholar in residence. We already have a date in mind, which I can't,
Great.
I'm not going to say right now because I don't want anybody to get their hopes up, but he will hopefully be joining us in the next few months. Alden Salavi, who lives in Jerusalem, he obviously could not come here to be with us in a few weeks when he was supposed to. These are his words. And by the way, if you want to follow along he does not call what he does poetry. He calls it liturgy. And he thinks of himself as a contemporary liturgist, not a poet. You can follow along at the website To Bend Light. To Bend as in like bend light, LIGHT.com, I think. And this was a prayer he wrote back in February, actually, for a prayer for medical scientists, and I think it still is as important today as it was when he wrote it. God of wisdom, bless medical scientists and researchers around the world with insight and skill, dedication and fortitude as they combat coronavirus, so that their work yields knowledge and understanding, speedily finding a vaccine, treatments, and deterrence to its spread. Source of life, grant public health and government officials the strength to act swiftly and decisively with compassion and understanding in service to humankind fighting this outbreak and the other diseases that still plague the planet. Diseases threatening the lives of our brothers and sisters, nations and communities, young and old. Rock of Ages, bring an end to disease and suffering, so that all may know your compassion and grace. Baruch atah Adonai rofech chol basar umafli la'asot. Praised are you, God, healer of flesh, maker of wonders. Page 160, our prayer asking God to protect us tonight and always. Hashkivenu.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leShalom ve'hamidenu shomreinu lechaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leShalom ve'hamidenu shomreinu lechaim. Ushmor tzeitenu uvoenu lechaim u'shalom me'ata ve'ad olam. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leShalom
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leShalom ve'hamidenu shomreinu lechaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leShalom ve'hamidenu shomreinu lechaim. So I tend to say things over and over again in Shabbat services.
I've been thinking about the words you normally say, and they are so true.
Oh, I'm going to say something sort of different tonight. So
Awesome.
I usually say at Vishamru, choose one thing to do different this week on this day on Shabbat. Make it different from the rest of the week.
And you already have.
That's right. But I want to also then, in this moment, especially when things feel too different, figure out a way to do something that feels just normal to you. And say, this is my normal thing on Shabbat. This is my normal thing this week because everything else is so out of whack. Find something just normal to do the Shabbat and say, this is my Shabbat observance this week. This is how I'm making it different because I'm going to dig and find the normalcy because that's what we have to do to keep moving forward. Page 162, Vishamru.
Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat l'dorotam brit olam. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית בית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם. כי 6 ימים עשה אדוני, עשה אדוני, את השמיים ואת הארץ, וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
Okay.
More friends.
More friends.
Great.
Let's see. Hold on. Sometimes refreshing can take longer than desired. Let's see. Oh, there we go. Okay. Let's see. Dvorah Ashkenazi, Shabbat Shalom to you.
Hi, Deb.
Abby, Shabbat Shalom. Jeffrey Halval, Shabbat Shalom. Jeff, Amy, Victoria. Your mother will be happy to know you're here. I got some congregants from my Connecticut congregation from a few years ago. Shabbat Shalom to all of you.
Shabbat Shalom. Welcome to Ann Arbor.
Yeah.
Virtually.
And I think I'm getting emails as well, so it's wonderful getting so many. Hold on. Ava, Kettle, Corey, I already went over all these folks. Okay. Shabbat Shalom, Carol. Shabbat Shalom to you. Shabbat Shalom to all of you. Thank you again for being with us, and we're glad that we can do this together. We continue on page 164 with the Amidah, and we're going to do this typically, right? We will chant out loud through page 170. The Amidah, though, continues through page 180. So when we are done chanting out loud together, please continue either in the Hebrew or English, or words of your own heart, your own private prayer. And we won't know if you sit down or not, so you can do what you want at the end.
We will do our best to give you some time.
Please rise if you're able.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei avoteinu ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah. Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor ve'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Ve'koneh HaKol, Ve'zocher Chastei Avot V'imahot, U'mevii Geula Livnei B'neihem, Leman Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'ezrat Sarah. Atah gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechaye metim atah Rab lehoshia. Mashiv haruach u'morid hagashem. Mechalkel chaim bechesed, Mechaye metim berachamim rabim. Somech noflim ve'rofeh cholim, Umatir asurim, Umekayem emunato lishenei afar. Mi chamocha bal gevurot, Umido melach, Melech memit umechaye, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman atah lahachayot metim. Baruch atah Adonai, Mechaye hametim. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, u'kadoshim b'chol yom yehalelucha selah. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el hakadosh.
Page 178. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki atahu melech Adon lechol hashalom. Ki atahu melech Adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. V'tov beinecha levarech et Amcha Yisrael bechol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha
tasim le'olam.
Shalom Rav.
Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha tasim le'olam. Tasim le'olam. Tasim le'olam.
We are not going to be reading Torah tonight. I actually thought that that it would be better not to read Torah. I'm afraid of people sort of it taking too long and it not. I don't know. So we can talk about that. Send us an email about Torah. You think like it's better to have a shorter service because you're there and we're here, but it's something I was thinking about and decided not to include a Torah service. Although I do want to give a big shout out to Harriet Charson, who learned the Torah portion for this week.
She prepared really beautifully. Harriet, thank you.
Thank you, Harriet Charson, for doing that. And next year. That's the beautiful thing about Torah. Next year, you're ready to go. Hold on, I'm getting more messages here. Amy Meltzer, Shabbat Shalom. Let's see. Hold on. Bobby Halval, Shabbat Shalom. Marty Luddington, Mark Kessler, Margaret Pooler, Julie Nagel. Yeah, Sheila Deskins, Eric Olson, Rachel Glick. All these, this is great.
This is awesome.
It's awesome.
Great to be together.
It's good
I'll say
to-
that again and again.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
By the way, and I'll repeat, we don't have many prayers left, but if you would like, on our Temple Beth Emeth Facebook page, we have a link to a digital copy of Mishkan Tefillah that you should then bookmark, because we're going to be doing this for a few weeks, obviously. So bookmark that, or obviously you can go also back to the page to find it, so that you'll have a prayer book for this evening, for Shabbat evenings, and Shabbat morning too. It has the morning service as well, and we'll make an announcement later about that. Trina Fuller, Syria Gibbons, people keep coming. Shabbat Shalom to all of you. Oh, and we got feedback from Shoshana that they sat down, so that was good.
Oh, I'm so glad. Thank you. I hope we didn't start too soon, so that makes me feel better.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. I'm even getting additions to a Yisker list. So.
Oh, I was going to say that's not a bad opportunity if you have names that you would like to make sure are read aloud.
Yes.
Now's your chance.
Yes.
Let us know.
But of course, we'll get there in a little bit. But for our prayer for healing, again, there was a choice, right? Do we do what we typically do, which obviously feels good to do what you typically do? But I asked Cantor Hayut to prepare something we have done before. We don't use it regularly, but it's short and it's easy, I think, to remember. and I think that we're going to have a lot of opportunities to offer prayers for healing. And so I asked Cantor Hayut and Taylor to prepare what is it, 5 words, I think? Yeah.
Yes.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 words. 5 words that Moses said in the book of Numbers when his sister Miriam was struck with leprosy. Moses called out to God, El na refana la. El na refana la. And it's an interesting set of words. Twice Moses says, please God, please heal Miriam. Please God, please heal Miriam. El na refana la. It's on page 371. There's English part 2, and Moses cried, heal Miriam, this I pray. That's the whole thing. El na refana la. Moses cried, heal Miriam, this I pray.
It's very repetitive, so we're going to sing it a few times through so you can get a feel for it. And perhaps we can post it on the website later this week.
Absolutely.
So that you can continue to listen and learn it. That's the whole Hebrew section. It just continues to repeat. So let's do it a few more times so you can really learn it. Sorry. And the second part, and Moses cried, Heal Miriam, this I pray goes. And Moses cried, Heal Miriam, this I pray. 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 And both parts eventually can be sung together when we're all together, but I'm sure we'll demonstrate after we
Exactly. So
offer these names of our loved ones.
So let's add those names to our communal list. Debbie Pissarak, Joanne Blumberg, Valentina Wolfson, Hillary Handwerger, Bridget Ford, Joel Berger, Margaret Leslie, Sidney Usum, Barry Hopkins, Buddy Tepper, David Seidenstecker, Carol Morgan, Dick Jordson, Melissa Dorfman, Steve Conway, Milton Child, Sherilyn Ford, Robert Morgan, Shmuel Natan Ben Avra Yaakova, Lorraine Mitz, Jackie Moore, Roz Mermel, Lauren Orzik, Aaron Scott, Jennifer Kinser, Harold Schumacher, and Valerie Carey. If there are names that you are thinking of, say those names out loud. Say them out loud in your homes. Add those names to our list. Say them out loud, not just in your hearts, those names of loved ones who are in need of healing. And we will pray for them like Moses prayed for Miriam. Simple words. Please heal them. Please heal them. So I hope that you can take that tune, those 5 words, and use it when you need it. whenever you need it. In thinking about words to offer you this evening, and this moment that we are living through, I had heard actually about this story and hadn't read it until a colleague of mine posted it or said that he was going to be talking about it on Shabbat, and I read it and I thought I wanted to share it with you as well. Before I begin to read it, this is a story written by the Hebrew and Yiddish writer David Frischman, who lived from 1859 to 1922. And this short story, which I'm not going to read the entire thing, I've cut some pieces out. It's called Shlosha She'achlu, Three People Who Ate. Three people who ate. Now, the three people are going to come up later in the story, but it plays off of a rabbinic concept that when three people eat together, they have to say words of blessing, right? They have to end with the Birkat HaMazon, with the grace after meals. And so it's playing with this idea. It has some historical basis. It isn't just a fiction. It's not exactly clear if it's hard history, but there is historical evidence for it, at least because it is about Rabbi Yisrael Salanter, the founder of what has become known as Musar, of sort of ethical thinking around Judaism, and he was a Orthodox rabbi. He was a very he was an Orthodox rabbi living in Europe, in Vilna, in the 1800s. And his son, who was a young boy at the time that this would have happened, has confirmed later in his life that something around this did happen. So there's at least his son who stands by the ideas that are presented here. So again, the three people historically in rabbinic Judaism are necessary for saying a blessing. And that's going to be important when I sort of give you my sense of what this story is about. So I'll begin. I have only a few words to tell you, 2 or 3 words. Once upon a time, 3 people ate. Not on a work day or in an ordinary Sabbath, but on the Day of Atonement that fell on a Sabbath. Not in a corner where no one sees or hears, but before all the people in the great shul, in the principal shul in the town. The cholera epidemic had broken out in 1848. The summer broke up, and there came the solemn days, the Yamim Noraim, the days of atonement, the most dreadful day of all. I shall remember that day as long as I live. The eve of the Day of Atonement, the reciting of Kol Nidre. At the desk before the ark there stands, not as usual, the precentor and 2 householders, but the rabbi and his 2 dayonim, 2 other rabbis with him. The candles are all burning around, and there are whisperings of the flames as they grow taller and taller, and people stand at their reading desks with grave faces and draw on the robes and prayer scarves, the Spanish hoods and silver girdles. It is the Atonement Day in the afternoon, and the rabbi stands on the platform in the center of the shul, tall and venerable, and there is a fascination in his noble features. And there, in the corner of the shul, stands a boy who never takes his eyes off the rabbi's face. In truth, I never saw a nobler figure. The rabbi is old, 70 or perhaps 80 years, but tall and straight as a fir tree. His long beard is white like silver, but the thick, long hair of his head is whiter still, and his face is blanched, and his lips are pale, and only his large black eyes shine and sparkle like the eyes of a young lion. I stood in awe of him when I was a little child. I knew he was a man of God, one of the greatest authorities in the law, whose advice was sought by the whole world. I knew also that he inclined to leniency in all his decisions, and that none dared oppose him. The sight I saw that day in shul is before my eyes now. The rabbi stands on the platform, and his black eyes gleam and shine in the pale face and in the white hair and beard. The additional service, the Musaf service, is over, and the people are waiting to hear what the rabbi will say, and one is afraid to draw one's breath, and the rabbi begins to speak. His voice, weak, grows stronger and higher every minute. And at last it is quite loud. He speaks of the sanctity of the Day of Atonement and the Holy Torah, of repentance and of prayer, of the living and of the dead, and of the pestilence that has broken out and that destroys without pity, without rest, without pause. For how long? For how much longer? And by degrees his pale cheeks redden and his lips also. And I hear him say, and when trouble comes to people, we must look to their deeds, not only to those which concern him and the Almighty, but to those which concern everybody, all of us, our bodies, our flesh, our own health. I was a child then, but I remember how I began to tremble when I heard these words, because I had understood. And the rabbi goes on to say, and men shall live by my commandments and not die by them. There are times when one must turn aside from the law, if by doing so a whole community may be saved. I stand shaking with fear. What does the rabbi want? What does he mean by his words? What does he think to accomplish? And suddenly I see that he is weeping, and my heart beats louder and louder. What has happened? Why does he weep? And there I stand in the corner in silence, and I also begin to cry. And to this day, if I shut my eyes, I see him standing on the platform. And he makes a sign with his hand to the two Dayanim, the two judges to the left and to the right of him. He and they whisper together, and he says something in their ear. What's happened? Why does his cheek flame, and why are theirs as white as chalk? And I suddenly I hear them talking, but I can't understand them because the words do not enter my brain, and yet all three are speaking so sharply and so clearly, and all the people utter a groan, and after the groan I hear the words, with the consent of the all-present, of God, and with the consent of this congregation, we give leave to eat and drink on this Day of Atonement. Silence. Not a sound is heard in the shul, not an eyelid quivers, not a breath is drawn, and I stand in my corner and hear my heart beating, and suddenly I grasp what it is the rabbi asks of us. The rabbi calls on to us to eat today. The rabbi calls on Jews to eat on the Day of Atonement, not to fast because of the cholera, because of the cholera, because of the cholera. And I began to cry loudly. And it is not only I, the whole congregation stands weeping, and the judges on the platform weep, and the greatest of all stands there sobbing like a child, and he implores like a child, and his words are soft and gentle. And every now and then he weeps so that his voice cannot be heard. Eat, Jews. Eat. Today we must eat. This is a time to turn aside from the law. We are to live through the commandments and not die through them. But no one in the shul has stirred from his place, and there he stands and begs of them, weeping, and declares that he takes the whole responsibility on himself, that the people shall be innocent. But no one stirs. And presently he begins again in a changed voice. He does not beg, he commands, I give you leave to eat. I. And his words are like arrows shot from the bow, but the people are deaf and no one stirs. And then he begins again with his former voice and implores like a child, what would you have of me? Why will you torment me till my strength fails? Think you, I have not struggled with myself from early this morning till now? And the rabbis, the Dayanim, also plead with the people. And all of a sudden, the rabbi grows as white as chalk and lets his head fall to his breast. There is a groan from one end of the shul to the other. And after the groan, the people are heard to murmur among themselves. Then the rabbi, like one speaking to himself, says, It is God's will. I am 80 years old, and I have never yet transgressed the law. But this is also a law. It is a precept. Doubtless the Almighty wills it so. And he calls to the helper, and the rabbi whispers a few words in his ear, and he confers with the dayanim, with the rabbis, and they nod their heads and agree. And the helper brings cups of wine for sanctification out of the rabbi's chamber, and little rolls of bread. And though I should live many years and grow very old, I shall never forget what I saw then and even now, when I shut my eyes. I see the whole thing. 3 rabbis standing on the platform in shul and eating before the whole people on the Day of Atonement. The 3 belong to the heroes. Who shall tell how they fought with themselves? Who shall say how they suffered and what they endured? I have done what you wish, says the rabbi, and his voice does not shake, and his lips do not tremble. God's name be praised. And all the Jews ate that day. They ate and wept. Rays of light beamed forth from the remembrance and spread all around and reached the table at which I sit and write these words. When we decided, like almost every other synagogue I know, by the way, and many churches as well, to hold Shabbat services like this, or in many cases, other places, canceling altogether, we did it not because we think that everybody is going to get sick, that everybody is going to die. That is not what we think is happening. But we did it because we know that this is going to affect many of us, and that by doing our part, doing what we can do to be physically distant from each other, yet spiritually connected, that we can slow this down, that we can make sure that the hospitals just around the corners from us can do what they need to do to ensure that as many people survive this as possible. I started by focusing on this idea that the story plays off of the 3 people eating together must offer a blessing. When we practice this social distancing, as hard as it is, as difficult as it is, as fearful as it is, we are being a blessing. We are that blessing when we do this. And so when you stand 10 feet away from the person next to you, you're offering them a blessing. When you stayed home tonight and didn't fill this room with us, you offered your community a blessing. Thank you for blessing us. As bizarre as this feels, and I know it does, not just for me and for Cantor Hayut, and Taylor's new here, so this is just regular for him. But thank you for blessing us. We feel it. We continue with Aleinu, page 586. Page 586.
Aleinu לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שמנו חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Page 591.
V'ne'emar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad u'shemo echad.
Before we move on with our service, I just want to make sure we continue to say hello to people, because it is good it's good to feel you here with these notes. By the way, we are going to work at finding a better way of doing this, of having some sort of mechanism that we can talk back to you. We're going to try our hardest. So bear with us as we figure this out. Hold on one second. You're getting some shout-outs, some love from Shoshana. Okay, I think if you've left us a message and I haven't mentioned your name, I'm sorry. I'm going to continue with our service, but Shabbat Shalom to all of you. It is a fearful thing to love what death can touch. A fearful thing to love. Hope, dream, to be, and oh, to lose. A thing for fools this, and a holy thing to love. For your life has lived in me. Your laugh once lifted me, your word was gift to me. To remember this brings a painful joy. 'Tis a human thing, love, a holy thing, to love what death has touched. We are in our first, well, not quite mourning, but Corinne Zabo will be buried on Sunday. We add her name, though, to our Shloshim list, mention her name. And in our first 30 days of mourning for Dr. Alan Menlo, Edward Reese, Maxine Rosenbaum, and Faye Roth. Our yard sites this week are for Dave Belzer, Jerome Vergita, Thelma Berman, Charles Baum, Ruth Bromberg, Milton Cantor, Stuart Hosed, Stephen Dominic, Edward Erickson, Jerome Feldman, Herbert Fromm, Lenny Fromm, Maurice Goldstein, Neil Goldstein, Miriam Hamburger, Ina Cahan, Murray Cahan, Bell Kalman, Joseph Kalman, Pinka Kalman, Saul Kalman, Minka Kalman, Beatrice Cantor, Bernard Katz, Evelyn Kessler, Marilyn Coster, Elaine Lauer, Dezo Linder, Regina Lindner, Ellie Lipsitz, Benjamin Lipson, Alex Little, Benno Mayer, Lenore Miller, Robert Mitchell, Dave Muskovitz, Ricky Niederlander, Ann Ohl, James Paradise, Joyce Pensler, Ed Pirtle, Joseph Rosenberg, Jim Sahlberg, Pearl Sandubre, Michael Lavin, and Ellen Barokas. I believe I mispronounced Elaine Lauer, Myron Schechter, William Schulman, Julian Scott, Selma Shafaroff, Mary Spiegel, Ann Teitelbaum, and Rose Tumarkin. Take a moment, if there are other names to add to our list for mourning, take a moment and add those names. Again, say those names out loud. Don't just offer them in your hearts. Say those names out loud. If you're able, please rise. Page 598, Kadishatom. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon uvyomechon uvchaye dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala ubizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehe shemei Rabbah mevarach le'olam ulamei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal shemei dekudesha brichu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehe shalama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen.
Shalom bimromav, uyaseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'yimeru.
Zichronam Livracha, may their memories be forever a blessing.
Amen.
Please be seated. Announcements. We will not be having Torah study tomorrow morning. To be honest with you, I could not get my head around getting the Zoom and getting it prepared and getting into the bat mitzvah tomorrow morning. So we will be doing it though in weeks to come. It was all too quick. So forgive me for that. We will be putting out an email. It will have we'll put out to the whole congregation the ability to join a Zoom call, which is basically a webinar. I'm sure if you've been on a webinar before, you've probably used the technology of Zoom. It tends to be one of the more popular ones. So you may already be familiar with it. If you are not, you can use it on your iPhone, on your Android. You can use it on any smartphone. You can use it on any computer. I believe you do have to download the app, though. So you should just go do that now, or not right now necessarily, but sometime this week. Zoom, Z-O-O-M, in your app store, and get it onto your device so that we will be together. We are thinking of lots of different ways of being together. Torah study, Lunch and Learn. I had a few people on Lunch and Learn today, which I do weekly on Friday afternoons. And we are already thinking about meetups, sort of virtual meetups for parents with kids, and other opportunities for members of the congregation to have classes together, to just have time to really probably let off some steam and talk about what we're doing to keep ourselves busy and healthy and sane. So we are thinking about all of those things and want to provide lots of opportunities. We have a number of accounts so we can do things simultaneously and have different options. So that will be coming. Keep your eyes open for that. You'll be notified on email. We'll post it on the website and Facebook. We'll try to get it out as much as possible when those things are happening. Basically, though, everything in person for right now, and we will reassess as if you're obviously nobody's here, so everybody got the message. But we're reassessing March 31st, and we'll let you know what we think about moving forward. Some of you may think, oh, that's too long. Some of you think that's too short to reassess. That's when we just decided that's our hard date. We'll let you know March 31st. So don't worry about it. Other things we want to mention?
That's really it, because health and well-being being the primary, there's really not much else going on until we do it virtually.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
anything that you think might be happening was probably canceled, so check in with any of us if you're not sure. And we'll try to keep everyone updated as much as possible between the website and Facebook.
One of the things that we're doing, and we're going to start this with our oldest members. So we thought the cutoff would be 60, and I know that 60 is not old. That's not what I was saying. I know some of you are thinking that. That's not what I was saying. But our older, anyways, you get my point. We're going to be calling. We'd like to call weekly all of our members who are in the 60-plus range. In the email you received yesterday, there was a link to sign up. If you would like to be doing that, we're going to give you 10 to 20 names. Honestly, it depends on how many people sign up to do this with us. Get a list of names, and you'll call those folks once a week. And you'll ask them, we're going to give you a few things to ask them, but would you like me to call more often? Would you like the rabbi or the cantor to reach out to you? How are you doing today? What's keeping you busy? What's making you happy? Is anything getting you down? I mean, just, have a conversation with a person for a few minutes. It's just going to be a check-in, really. And we just want to find ways to continue to connect together. But if you need us, you should definitely email. Definitely email us. Probably everybody has our emails, but I'm Rabbi Winston at templebethemeth.org, Cantor Hayut at templebethemeth.org. If you need any pastoral care, if we need to be talking more often to you, email us, let us know. We are here for you. We're going to be spending a lot of time on these Zoom calls, on FaceTime, on the phone. Please be in touch, and we will try to be in touch with you.
I do want to say that the best way to reach us probably is through email, because we might not be getting messages if you leave them on our phones in the office. It may take some time.
Yeah. I'm not going to give you my cell phone over the internet, but I'm happy to I think both of us, I'm sure, are happy to give you our cell phone numbers. So, but just not,
We're not going to say it now, so don't get your pens ready.
For the whole world. So, we are available to you, even as we are distancing ourselves physically from each other. In fact, next week we got to figure out. We should probably stand further apart.
Probably we should.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
we may split our tables and.
Yeah. We didn't think about that. Sorry.
We'll get better at this over the next weeks, and hopefully by the time we're great at it, it'll all be over.
That'd be good. That'd be good. Okay. Kiddush, Motzi.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I almost forgot this time.
I remembered.
Very good.
All right. At the very beginning of everything, when God created the heaven and the earth, God made a separation between the sea above and the sea below. And God planted plants on the earth and put the sun and the moon and the stars in the sea above. And then God put the fish and the sea monsters in the sea below and the flying creatures in the sea above. And then created the creepy crawly things to crawl all over the earth. And then finally created us human beings and said to us, and now, especially right now, it is time to rest. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit ki hu yom techila lemikra'ei kodesh Zecher letziat Mitzrayim, Kivanu v'acharta ve'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim, v'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu, Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh ha'shabbat.
I hope everyone had a little wine or juice.
All right.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz b'tei avon.
We're the only ones eating it. So, well, this shows you, we were actually prepared earlier this week. We were thinking we were going to have services all together, and we got our challah sliced this week because of that. But
Right.
here we are. One other announcement. We will be streaming our bar and bat mitzvah services.
Right.
We have two benot mitzvah tomorrow morning. Wonderful young ladies. You will notice, though, if you do stream with us, there will be some people in the sanctuary. We have decided that for our bar and bat mitzvahs, that we are asking them to only have their not just immediate family, but close family, and we are trying to keep our services to those services. Just because I couldn't say to kids who have been preparing for a year that we need to postpone, unless the health department tells us that's the case, that they couldn't have their bar bat mitzvah. So, but I'm gonna tell you right now what I'm gonna tell them tomorrow. They can only sit next to the people they came in the same car with. So even though they're only going to be 30 people in this room tomorrow, they're going to be spread all over the sanctuary. So that's one way that I thought we could sort of mitigate the issue and have people in the same room. But just I thought I would have everybody be 10 feet away from everybody else. And I thought, well, some of them are coming together. So if they drove together,
if they're living under the same roof.
Yeah,
now.
So you'll notice that if you do stream with us tomorrow morning. We have a wonderful, beautiful closing song, page 677, 677.
In the middle of the page, oh, guide my steps.
Oh, guide my steps and help me find my way. I need your shelter now. Rock me in your arms and guide my steps. And help me make this day a song of praise to you. Rock me in your arms and guide my steps. Oh, guide my steps. Help me find my way. I need your shelter now. Rock me in your arms and guide my steps. And help me make each day a song of praise to you. Rock me in your arms and guide my steps. Oh, guide my steps and help me find my way. I need your shelter now. Rock me in your arms and guide my steps. And help me make this day a song of praise to you. Rock me in your arms and guide my steps.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.